Turn your mic on, Mr. Smith. I need a microphone. We can share?
Yeah.
All right, we can share.
Are we live?
We are live on Facebook, Mr. Chairman.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir, I am.
Did you want to address Facebook before we get started?
I will wait for you to open up the meeting after the pledge and give the directions for Facebook Live, sir.
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, I would like to call to order the monthly meeting of the Charleston County Board of Supervisors, being our August meeting. We would like at this time to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then prior to amending or adopting the agenda, we would like for Mrs. Johnson to give some instructions to our Facebook folks that are watching live on Facebook.
That is correct, sir.
All right. We ask everyone to stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. You all can all join in. To the republic
For which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Johnson, if you would please give our users out on Facebook, let them know exactly what's going on with tonight's meeting, please.
Not a problem, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Facebook Live. I am Michelle Johnson, the County Administrator. Welcome to the August-September Board of Supervisors meeting. We will be streaming live tonight. The board members, you will be able to hear them, but not be able to see them. And so we will have our audience. You'll be able to hear our audience as well. And so I am multitasking tonight, Facebook Live, so please bear with me. I'm actually doing 4 jobs right now. I think I'm the woman for it. All right, Mr. Chairman. Next item.
We have to amend the agenda. We had the agenda just laid on the table prior. So
Mr. Chairman, we need to amend the agenda for the 2 highlighted items that you have under presentations. We need to add the introduction of firefighters by Director Jimmy Johnson. And then item A on the County Administrator's report, the resolution for the Smart Scale project, sir.
Before we get started, Ms. Johnson, on amending the agenda and also the adoption agenda, can you explain public comment to Facebook users tonight, this evening, on
Sure.
on how comments will work? And we will be accepting comments from the public here in person and also on Facebook. Is that correct?
That is correct. So for all of the citizens who have joined us via Facebook, you will be allowed to give your comments only during the public comment period. They, unlike last night when you posed your questions, we were able to answer them. During the regular Board of Supervisors meeting, comments are not answered. We will capture them and then also ensure that we capture them in our minutes.
Will we be able to, will the board members be able to see those comments on the screen or whatever?
No, sir.
Okay, so we're not going to be able at this meeting to actually answer or address anything during our directives and comments. Is that correct?
I can read the public comments once they appear.
Tell you what, at the end, before it comes up to board directives, if you will, just give us a count of how many you've got.
And we can go through them that way, sir.
All right, thank you very much. All right, gentlemen, you've heard the 2 amendments to the agenda, being item C under presentations and also item A under the county administrator's report. Do you have any other additions or amendments that you'd like to make to the agenda? If not, the floor is open for the adoption.
Mr. Chairman, move that the agenda be adopted as recommended.
All right, any discussion on Mr. Smith's motion? Your vote, Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Black? My vote is aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, did we do the adoption?
Okay.
The
I'm going to take over that, all right? That takes us to the consent agenda, gentlemen. If you don't have any additions or anything on the consent agenda, floor is open for a motion. I'm going to roll tonight with it since you're doing 4 jobs, okay?
Actually, they need to hear me because you're not clear on Facebook.
We need a motion.
Yeah, we need a motion on the consent agenda. Motion for approval.
Motion for approval, Mr. Chairman, for the consent agenda.
All right, any discussion on Mr. Black's motion? Your vote, Mr. Black? Mr. Smith?
Aye.
My vote is aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next item are presentations. We will have our Vdot monthly report by Mr. Marshall Nguyen. We're so glad to have him back in the audience and not virtual. So welcome, Mr. Nguyen. And if you can speak into that mic.
Yeah, just a few things to start off with. We'll let you know what our staff is doing over this COVID-19 situation. Basically, our crews are split shifting. One crew will come in at 6:30, and the other crew will come in at 7:30.
Can you turn your mic up? Continue, you do have it on.
Yeah.
Turn it. There you go. Go ahead, continue on, Mr. Nguyen.
Like I said, the area headquarters is split shifting. One crew's coming in at 6:30, the other crew's coming in at 7:30. Residency office is basically working from home, teleworking. If there's any need to contact anybody at the residency, you can contact me. I will definitely answer your phone. And if you need to meet with me at any time, just give me a call or text me or email. Couple other things, as you can see on the report, we had 74 work orders, completed 81. Just started their primary motorcycle month. They're working around 5 right now. They've done some on today. After we finish the primary motorcycle, they're gonna move right on into the secondary. Crash is going like hell. Everything's looking wet. We're gonna get a storm this weekend from Laura, the Hurricane Laura. I hope it bypasses us in one way or another. The other big item is the 155 bridge project. There's 2 items left to complete that bridge. One item is taking the dismantling the forms under the deck. They haven't been able to get to it due to the height of the water in the creek. They're hoping to get to that tomorrow, and the next day, once they demo that, those forms and everything, they can pull the barge out that's in the river, and then Monday we're scheduled to have a bridge inspection. My hope is to have that bridge open Tuesday, September 1st.
So September 1st, which is next week, correct?
Next Tuesday. I'm hoping that it'll be open one day next week, but I assure you that
Emphasize the word hoping.
So Facebook, we are hoping that September 1st, the Route 155 bridge will be open, but definitely one day next week.
yes, that's what the construction engineer, construction manager has been telling me.
Okay.
And I will, reach out to y'all later this week, Mr. Johnson, and let you know for sure.
Okay.
Because the construction manager told me he would keep me abreast of that situation.
Okay. We appreciate that, Mr. Nguyen.
Hey, other than that, I really don't have anything else. Unless you have some questions.
Yeah, I have some questions. If it's possible to do a speed study on Lock Curry, right before you get to Atkins Road, due to the accident that we had.
If I can piggyback on that, certainly, actually, that splits our districts there. I know speed studies take 6 months, 60 to 90 days. Is there such a thing as an emergency speed study? Due to the fact, I saw you start shaking your head, and I tried to interject really quick. Due to the fact of this detour, you know what happened there yesterday? We had a fatality in that curve. And I hear that you said the bridge is going to be open next week. You feel pretty confident that that bridge will be open by the end of next week, even if, okay. Then there's really no way around the 60-90 speed study, 60-90 days. Okay, fair enough. Continue on, sir.
And then I'd just like to say thank you for your efforts in my district, cutting back the hedges and the bushes and the brush and such. Yeah, the glebe and Route 5. Other than that, I'd like to get with you again about the reflectors on Route 5. get, more details on that.
Okay, I'll give you.
Can you turn these mics up a little bit?
I'm getting ready to do that.
Is mine up?
Yeah, I just need to see what number it is. Like 4.
I have mic 3.
Okay, continue on, y'all.
Mr. Nguyen, I'll send you an email. I think you got it. I'm not sure. Probably a week and a half ago. It was, the individuals that live along Old Union Road and Charles City Road will have a great concern of these, large trucks coming through there. Also on Old Union Road, it is to the point now when the large trucks come through there with a load, they're pulling chunks of tar from the side of the road. Then when a car meets them, the car has to get over and they're going down in those sinks. So maybe you can look at that and see if we can do something about the trucks turning the road up.
Not very much I can do with that.
But, yeah,
We'll look into the.
I agree. We've been working on it, but every time we try to figure out something, we come to a dead end. So also, I gave you an address on Old Union Road. The individual said that there's a whole lot of growth at the end of their driveway, and you have to come with half out in the road before they can see whether traffic coming or not.
I'm pretty sure that the superintendent is taking care of that.
Good. Okay.
I'll recheck it.
Okay. And have you heard anything from Enrico County about?
I'm going to give a report on that later in my report.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nguyen. Appreciate it very much.
Hold on. I piggyback. I just piggyback. I get my turn here.
You can go. I can go right after.
No, you go ahead.
I forgot one thing. So, all right, Rooteville Road. I know we discussed this prior. I just like if you could address the issue on that little micro bridge when it comes to the beavers on each side of the road, clogging that drain. Rooteville, the end of the road.
Yeah, I know it is.
Yeah.
We went in there last week,
Mm-hmm.
cleaned everything up, and we put some beaver traps in front of the pipes. So the beaver traps are made out of steel, and all we gotta do is go in there with a grate off and pick these traps up and shake it in the back of the truck. So it makes it a whole lot easier to clean these the beaver they do out. And we're looking at adding one more pipe once the water line goes down. I don't know if it's help or not, but the biggest issue is we're not able to go in there and take care of the landowner on the side where the beavers are will not allow us to come on his property. And I'm pretty sure I've sent Ms. Johnson this guy's phone number. I don't know if you've ever been able to get in touch with him.
I have not.
So I was hoping maybe the county could leverage a little bit of strong arm language to help us out. But that would help a whole lot.
Yeah, we've left several messages with him and sent him some correspondence. We haven't gotten a response back.
Is there anything else that we can do if we don't get anything back?
It's his property that they're on. We can't.
I've got to get a waiver
I don't know.
permission from the landowner.
Hmm?
You should get on his
I can't
property.
remember his name at this moment. I'm doing 10 things.
If he doesn't give me that permission, I can't have, Department of Agriculture come in there and do what they do for us.
All right. We have to look at some other options and try to reach back out to them again.
Okay.
I mean, I understand the flooding is a real issue for the folks at the end of that road, so. Thank you. Yes.
Mr. Nguyen, what is the amount of room on each side of the road that you all are allowed to go in and cut down trees that are threatening to fall on the road?
Well, that part, it really doesn't matter if it's a dangerous tree or dead tree. All we have to do is get permission from the landowner to cut the tree and we'll take care of it.
Okay. On Cool Hill, not far from mine, there's 2 hanging over the road that if a good wind were to come, I think they would. I actually, during the last little mini hurricane, cut one tree out of the road myself. And I cut one out, a big one on Greenpeace that had fallen and trapped my girlfriend in there, along with those 14 houses back in there. And I cut those myself.
Right.
but we've got two on Cool Hill and a lot of other roads that have trees that are already leaning, ready to go. Is that something that you all could look at over the next few weeks and just?
If you give me some addresses and some names, because we have to contact whoever owns that property, if the tree is off the right to get permission to cut.
Actually, we have trees all over the county that are threatening, especially with all the water we've had. I'll get back with you on that.
Okay.
And I'm gonna look at I think there's one on each side. I know the landowner on one, and I can contact him to get permission for you, and the other one we'll work on that. All right. At this time, I know I've got some people here from down off of the Glee Wilcox net. You're all gonna wait till the first public comment period, correct? The way, yeah. But he is going to stay just for you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the Vdot rep? Stand up, please state your name.
Makes that left to come across the road. There's one tree that I know is dog, but there's no bushes there. And if you head to west from downtown, they're coming this way. And those lines, and they're rolling in the highway, you can't see them until they're in the highway. But I just wondering if something you could do, where you can see them when they got to it. You know, as they start around that line, so that we can see them and they can see us.
It's that Hawk Storm.
Yeah, Hawk Store, where it makes that line, and they come across 5.
Okay.
Anyone else? Do we have any news on the roundabout?
Oh, I'm going to address that shortly as well. It's on your agenda.
Okay, that's fine.
And if you want.
I'm going to talk about that, yeah. Mr. Nguyen, I'm going to ask our Facebook participants if they have any questions for Vdot, if you could put it in the comment section. And while Mr. Nguyen is here, we can capture those. I'll say your name and your comment. So if you have any questions for the Vdot representative, please put your comment in the comment section now.
Wait for that to happen. You're on. Yes. That'll give you a few minutes. What did that do something?
Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
I need to meet with you. My name is Sharon Brown, and I live at 20340 High Bank Lane, just off of the Glebe and Wilcox Neck. And I put a post out on Facebook on Charles City Living about the Glebe Lane. A lot of people commented, and I was hoping a lot more to come here tonight, but I had a few that did show up. So I'm coming before you tonight to request to Vdot that we need some major repairs done on the Glebe Lane. The 10-mile stretch of roadway is horrific for motorists to travel on. Not only are a lot of the edges missing, the holes on the side are huge and the bumps on that road are crazy. And the lines that were just drawn on it, if I tried to follow those, if they just painted on there, I'd get arrested for drunk driving. They're so crooked. I mean, they're like weaving all over. So that says that for the road. And the road's very narrow. We have a lot of traffic traveling down this road to go to the restaurant, the Blue Heron, the marina, the public boat landing, and a soon-to-be campground that's coming right there to the River's Rest by the Blue Heron. That means we're going to have a lot more traffic on the Glebe, and we already have traffic from fishing tournaments, farm equipment, bicycles, everyday traffic. And there's nowhere to go when you meet up with a truck or a truck pulling a boat. One of you has to leave the road. It's that narrow. And I know that people who have lived over there for years, and I'm talking 35 or more years, have been trying to get road repairs done to the Glebe, but nothing has happened. the mixture of tar and gravel, it doesn't work. It doesn't work on the Glebe. We have too much traffic. And I've done some investigating with some of the traffic that's on there. So some of the weight that's on this road, and I know it wasn't built for this, and it wasn't intended to carry this much weight every day, multiple times throughout the day. The weight of an empty 18-wheeler flatbed truck, nothing on it, is 30,000 pounds. Now we have sod farms out there. You have a load of sod to that truck. You just added an additional 50,000 pounds. So now we're looking at 80,000 pounds of weight. They're going up and down that road multiple times during the day. But let me add, let that sod get wet when they cut it. You just added another 10,000 pounds of weight. So now we're up to 90,000 pounds on one truck of sod. And I'm not bashing the sod farmers, great for them, but it's tearing up the Glebe. It really is. So let me just ask this of our board. You know, we all pay tax dollars for road repairs, but who decides what roads do get repaired? Who makes that decision here in the county? And once the construction begins on that campground out there, guess what? Now you've got construction equipment that's going to destroy the road even more with all the equipment coming in. It's just not a campground to build an additional hotel. You got to bring all these people in and out. Them there is going to make more traffic every single day on the Glebe. And I just want the county to be safe. You can see I'm a proud resident, Charles City, and my shirt's made, wear it all the time.
I appreciate that.
And I would just like,
I need
for
one
you,
of those.
Mr. Nguyen, if you could take a ride up and down the Glebe from Route 5 all the way up to Wilcox Neck on both sides and just see what it does to your vehicle. I just got a brand new vehicle. I'm already having to replace the shocks. And I just bought this vehicle in December because it's boom, boom, boom all the way. Okay? So if you want to just right out there, you'll find bumps, and I call them jumps because you go down and come back up. Holes, roads, it's in dire need of major repair. And we're growing out in that area. And these campgrounds, some of the residents will be permanent sites as more people traveling to and from the store, to and from the campgrounds, to and from the hotel. So I'm just asking you, please, for the ones that live out there off me, please fix our road. It is bad. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Mr. Nguyen, I do have, if you could capture the comments, Kevin Sullivan would like to Vdot to address the resurfacing of Courthouse Road, the part of the bike path. So the Courthouse Road, I guess from Route 5 to the bike path, Mr. Sullivan is questioning, that needs resurfacing, and can Vdot look into that? No, right here in front of this building.
Oh, right here.
Mhm. Yes.
I don't get to see where it is.
Okay. Also, Ms. Wanda Roberts says, will Wilcox Neck Road be repaired after Rivers Rest development is completed? So that's something that I guess that we can give you the schedule. Rivers Rest will break ground October 1, and it'll take about 9 months. So we can make sure that you guys are working with that developer. Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's all that I have on Facebook, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Nguyen, thank you so much. Appreciate you, man. Good job.
Next, Mr. Chairman, we have COVID-19 updates by Director Johnson. Miranda.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, Ms. Johnson, audience, Facebook Live.
Good
have
evening.
before you the, latest update for COVID-19. And I'm just gonna read a little bit of some of the, what we do here. Charles City County offices, how we've opened back up. Since we've opened, we've had,
If you could speak louder so they can hear you.
since we've opened, we've had 2 cases of employees testing positive for COVID-19. Once we were notified of the confirmed cases, the buildings were closed to the public and employees and professionally cleaned. Once the cleaning was completed, the buildings were reopened to employees and public. We now require employees to wear a mask when coming into the common areas, along with employees and the public. As of today, Charles City County, if you look at Vdot website, we have 66 confirmed cases. According to my count, we have 57, and that's because of a lack of information being uploaded. So we could have 66, but like I said, we have 57 by my count. We have had 5 confirmed deaths, and we only have 4 active cases as of now. So that's not too bad. I mean, considering other areas, 1 case is bad, but considering other areas, I think we've done a good job controlling COVID. I want to answer a question that Mr. Black asked me on last month's agenda. And I apologize because I think I misunderstood what you were asking. You asked me last month at the board meeting, how many employees have to be confirmed positive before we close the buildings? Like I said, 1 person, we're going to close for 1 person to do cleaning and getting everything straight. I think, but if you look at the long term, I think that's what you're asking, the long term effects of the COVID. I think we're in pretty good shape as far as being able to clean our buildings without having to bring in Surf Pro again. I think we've done it 3 times. Mr. Hicks of Public Works, he's purchased through the CARES Act money some ultraviolet light cleaning system. It's a new system that cleans through light beams, cleans at about 400 feet. Each machine cleans a 400-foot section, and we ordered 65 of them. We calculated what we would need for the biggest room, and we got enough for that. So we have enough for all the areas. Along with Public Works doing that daily, twice a day cleaning, wiping doorknobs and handles and cleaning bathrooms and public areas. So for the long term, I think I would recommend continuing with the alternating shifts for the building, but I feel pretty confident that the building could stay open. Any questions?
How many ultraviolet did you say you purchased?
It's 65 of them.
65? What's the average cost of those?
I think we paid like $300 for one. I'm sorry. Take that back. We paid about $80. They only clean a 400 square foot area, so you have to put enough of them in here to clean instead of keep moving around.
Okay.
But those the lights, of course, were processed through CARES funding, but also they'll be cleaning all day. So we won't have to, be worrying about if someone comes in that is contaminated, the lights will constantly be cleaning the building, and it's going to help on a regular basis, even if it's flu season. So we'll be disinfecting and sanitizing the building on a regular basis.
It's also done by remote control and it's multiple uses.
Do we have anyone that's enforcing that mask rule here in our building? Or like say we have someone from the public come in without a mask, do we?
Each department is responsible for since they are guests that's coming into the building, for making sure that they're wearing masks. I know it's been instances where I've seen people in the, hallway that didn't have a mask, and I would go to my office and get them one before they could come to the whole building. But we're asking that each department let their, UPS people that they got packages, they know they have packages coming, and they do a pretty good job of doing it themselves. Putting on masks, we do have signs at the door.
We've only had a couple of instances of, the public coming in without a mask. We do have notifications on each individual office door outside of the front door that you cannot enter this office without a mask. And, we have, in most offices, we have them available if, they need one.
The UV lights, I have one more question about that. Is that something that's gonna be shared with the school system, or could be shared with them so they can utilize that tool also, or no?
Actually, the school system is doing another technique to clean the schools, which is a fogging system.
Okay.
So I've talked to Dr. Joppy and shared that information with her. And I know her operations manager was getting with Mr. Hicks to see if that's something that they may be interested in, because it is very affordable. But they are planning to do a fogging system daily or nightly in the school system right now. That's per the superintendent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I think you're up on the next one too, aren't you, Mr. Johnson? We got too many Johnsons.
The next item you have is just the introduction of our newest employees to the Charles City County Fire Department. When I call your name, I just ask that you stand up, give a wave, or want to say something, say something. First, we have Mr. Avon Hirsch, Devin Hirsch, I'm sorry. Mr. Matthew Hammer. This guy smiles. Oh,
We can't see it.
oh,
Take the bath.
You can see.
oh,
That's a good thing.
That's exciting.
we have Mr. Scott Howard. And last but certainly not least, one of Charles City's own, Mr. Spencer Tucker,
Have the name over the mask on.
will be joining the department on September 15th. The other three gentlemen have already started, and they're doing a great job. I really appreciate it.
And that's all you have for tonight to introduce to us? I want to give them a round of applause.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And what's the gentleman that smiles all the time? What's his name?
Mr. Hammer.
MC.
MC.
I've never seen nobody as excited to be in a job as, except for maybe.
Hang out with Ms. Johnson. It might get knocked down just a little bit.
Well, gentlemen, we are truly excited to have you as a part of our new fire department. I've seen you guys in training. I'm going to put on a uniform and some boots one day. Probably not, unless they're pink. But we want to welcome you, Charles City County, and thank you for, being a part of our fire and EMS department, and thank you for taking care of all of our citizens and visitors here in Charles City County. So welcome aboard.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This brings us to our first public comment period.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to address the board, you can come up to the podium, state your name. We do not ask that you state your address any longer. If you are representing a group, we give you 5 minutes, or individuals for 3. And then after we do the auditorium, I will ask Ms. Johnson if she has any comments off of Facebook Live. Would anyone like to address the board?
And if you do address the board, we would ask that you just speak relatively loud. Facebook is saying that they can't really hear the microphone down here, so as loud as you can, we would appreciate it.
Anyone like to address the board? All right, Ms. Johnson, I'm going to turn it over to you for Facebook Live.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, we are going to have Assistant County Administrator, Ms. Rhonda Russell, come before us this evening with the courthouse area plan. I'm sorry.
Do you have any comments on Facebook that we were going to do?
Oh, I forgot about that. I'm so glad I'm not perfect.
Dr. Russell will be with you in just a few minutes.
Okay, let me back up. Facebook Live. If you have any comments, any public comments that you would like to chime in, I will read those comments, your name and your comment. We can't say you'll be given 3 minutes, but you'll be given 1 comment during public comment period on Facebook Live. So if you have any comments outside, we understand that you cannot necessarily hear what's going on at the microphone on the podium, but we do appreciate your patience. So any comments that you would like to have at this time?
If you get any, tell them that there is a second public comment period, and if they can go ahead and start putting them in as we go along, it'll all be there when we get to it.
Okay.
That way we won't have a delay.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if there aren't any public comments, we will move forward. We are asking that if you have public comment for the second public comment period, you can put that into the comment section, and we will share that with the audience here as well as with the Board of Supervisors at the next public comment period. So now we will have the Assistant County Administrator, Rhonda Russell, come forward with the courthouse area plan. Was this? Did we advertise that?
Good evening, members of the board, Ms. Johnson, members of our community present, and those who are participating virtually.
Before you get started, Dr. Russell, I will read the advertisement of the public comment period. The public hearing for the courthouse area plan, because we did advertise this, correct? Okay. Notice is hereby given that the Charles City County, Virginia Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on Thursday, August the 25th, 2020 at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter as possible in the auditorium of the Government Administration Building, 10900 Courthouse Road, Charles City, Virginia, to receive public comment on and consider the following: the Courthouse Area Plan, Comprehensive Plan Amendment, Charles City County CPA 012020, proposed amendment to the Charles City County 2014 Comprehensive Land Use Plan to incorporate the Charles City Courthouse Area Plan. The Courthouse Area Plan includes specific recommendations and policy language to foster further economic development in and around the courthouse area, while preserving the rural character of surrounding lands. Any persons desiring to be heard in favor or in opposition to the above are hereby invited to be present at the public hearing. The comprehensive plan application can be reviewed during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, in the Community Development Department located at the address above. The complete case information may be obtained from Rhonda Russell, AICP, Assistant County Administrator and Director of Community Development of Charles City County, at the County Administration Building located at 10900 Courthouse Road, Charles City, Virginia, 23030. Questions concerning the application may be directed to the Charles City County Community Development at 804-652-4707. All written comments are encouraged to be submitted to the Charles City County Community Development, P.O. Box 66, Charles City, Virginia, 23030. By order of Ms. Rhonda Russell, Director of Community Development, Assistant County Administrator. Run this advertisement in the August 11th. Oh, I'm sorry, that was a note. Sorry, guys. So that is the public hearing notice that was advertised. And so we will ask Ms. Russell, you've been Ms. Russell, Dr. Russell, and all the same, right? To just go over the courthouse area plan that's in your packet, and we have the presentation that we'll pull up.
Good evening again. I'd like to just briefly provide a little bit of history, but I'm going to follow the 3 Bs, Mr. Kevin and Ms. Johnson, with respect to our courthouse area plan. The courthouse area plan was developed in 2013, finalized in 2014, and it was a coordinated effort between Charles City County and the The courthouse area plan was developed in an effort to provide policy guidance for the development of the courthouse and surrounding areas, given the sensitivity to development of the Virginia Capitol Trail and the number of visitors that would be frequenting our community as a result of the trail, and creating opportunities for convenience retail and entertainment. In 2020, we're actually actualizing, seeing some synergy in development opportunities and prospective development interests in our courthouse area. Namely, Kohl's is proposing to expand their operation to include entertainment. You should be seeing that for your action sometime this fall. And then we have a multi-million-dollar investment in the redevelopment of the neighborhood facilities building. Unfortunately, without formal adoption by the Board of Supervisors of the courthouse area plan, this document can't be considered as a policy guiding document for the development of properties in this area, namely those two. And so that is the cause or the catalyst for why staff thought it was prudent to bring this forward at this time. We do believe, however, that there's been some significant lag or time between the development of the document 2013, finalization of the document 2014, and 2020. We've got some 7 years, and it would behoove us to engage in some community engagement efforts so that we are sharing with business owners and property owners in the courthouse area, as well as our broader community, what these recommendations are. And so we would ask the board to consider community comments this evening because it has been advertised for that purpose. But if you would consider delaying any official action on the courthouse area plan until at least your September meeting, that would allow us to conduct 1 or 2 community charrettes to share the recommendations of this document, which are not changed from its final presentation in 2014.
Questions, gentlemen? No. Mr. Smith?
I just had a question.
Mr. Smith, you can.
Thank you. I just had a question. As we developed that area, take for instance that we had a mom and pop shop there, and they wanted to build some type of, say, a living quarters over top of their shop. Would that be allowed for them, or could they rent it out to be more money for them? Yes.
You have to speak loud.
So my question was retail space at the bottom or residential space at the top. So the first part of your question, Mr. Smith, is would that be allowed? The courthouse area plan actually encourages that. It's encouraging mixed use development.
Good.
And so in the downtown setting, you really want to create residential opportunities so that there is some purpose or cause to be in that area after hours. So the answer is absolutely yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Dr. Russell, was notice sent out to the adjoining property owners about this public hearing tonight?
No, sir. Just the advertisement.
And once we realize that, Mr. Chairman, that's the reason the request for deferring this topic until we have an opportunity to have those, charrettes for the community, especially in the courthouse area.
Isn't that a requirement that we notify property owners adjacent before a public hearing? Because there's not going to be another public hearing on this. This is the public hearing. So therefore, they were not given the ability to attend the public hearing. Is that correct?
No, sir, I don't believe that is correct. Individual notices to adjacent property owners is required per the code under 3 specific situations, and that is amendments to your zoning ordinance, land use actions to include rezonings and special use permits.
It's not required.
Individual property owner notices are not required for plan amendments.
Okay, and I see in your staff report, under additional site data, it says desire to sell a portion of land to a neighbor who wishes to perform a minor subdivision with not less than 20 acres. Does that apply to this?
And I believe that's for plan, the template was used by staff.
So you're asking us to defer this until next month,
At least next month, yes.
so that you can do what?
We're going to do, at least 2 charrettes, small community meetings where we invite, stakeholders, what I'll call stakeholders in the courthouse area, and we'll extend an invitation to the broader community to listen to and hear the specific recommendations of the courthouse area plan, and to carry them to gain their feedback on those recommendations, specifically asking, if they have any concerns, that we should consider in revisiting any of these recommendations, and if they support or do not support this document going forward, this policy guidance for the development of the courthouse area.
Yeah, I was just curious, does it have to be small groups? A small invitation for the community, or could it be open to the whole community? Because I noticed you said small, so.
Yes, and the small nature of it is that we're suggesting small, because small groups, the dialogue tends to be easier to facilitate. So we will extend individual invitations to property owners and business owners in the courthouse area. And a general invitation, maybe an announcement on Facebook or something to that effect for the broader community.
Okay. But you won't be getting the input from the community.
I guess what I would call targeted solicitation will go to property owners and business owners in the immediate courthouse area, and then a social media outreach for the broader community, the individual notice to property owners.
So that's when they will receive notice then. Adjacent property owners.
Yes. Sir.
Speak louder.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
I would like to schedule a meeting with the planning department and you at our earliest convenience.
Not a problem, Mr. Chairman.
I will make a motion to defer this, any action on this. Until our October meeting. That is my motion. Is there any discussion on my motion? Your vote, Mr. Smith? Mr. Black? My voting is aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item are appointments. The first, we have the Charles City Wetlands Board. Do you all have any appointments for the Wetlands Board?
Who's the district is there, you know, it can be for me to do.
Three. And if you want to defer your appointment to next month, that's fine.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. This is just for the wetlands board, correct?
Correct.
All right. Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Any other appointments for you all this evening?
Mr. Johnson, gentlemen, do y'all have any other ones?
Yeah, I do.
Continue.
Marion Christian for Housing Task Force.
Okay, Ms. Marion Christian for the Housing Task Force representing District 3. Mhm.
Is that a new one or?
It'll be new, because I had some expired ones, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I just have a
We need
question.
to take a motion on his appointment, correct?
Oh, you need to make the motion.
Oh,
I'm going to appoint.
You,
I'd like to make a motion to, appoint Ms. Christian to the House Dashboard. Madam Christian, sorry about that.
Any discussion on Mr. Black's motion? You vote Mr. Black? Aye. Mr. Smith? I vote aye. Anyone else?
No.
Okay. Mr. Smith?
Just looking over this sheet and, the Board of Legalization, do we use those, I see they're still on here. Do Rob would just keep a, just remind who served on that board?
I'm sorry, what's your question?
Board of Legalization, do we continue to keep these names on here, just remind us who served, or how often do we use them?
We actually use them for the reassessment, which we're getting ready to start that process now. And so they will be utilized, once the reassessment has been completed.
Okay, because all of these have, expired, so I need to get on the phone. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Johnson, let me go with the EDA first before I lose track. And then, Sylvia Owens on the Trustee Social Services Board, she is meeting, I think, and she has resigned. What district was she in?
One,
District 1. Okay, that will be on you.
Mhm.
John, we had some conversations about the EDA,
Mhm.
going forward, about going forward. And I had requested to actually be, a member, but that we cannot do that legally. But we can, appoint a board member as an advisory member. And I'm requesting to be the advisory member from the Board of Supervisors to the EDA. In order for that to happen, I would need a motion from one of my colleagues. Also, District 3 has a vacancy that has been vacant for quite some time. And usually have 3 members down there, 2 active and 1 vacant. Mr. Smith has 3 members and I only have 1 in District 2. So I'm going to request that you give me that vacancy.
Give it to you.
that's what he said. Give him the District 3 vacancy on the Economic Development Authority.
Right, so, if it's okay with you, sir, do we need a motion on this, Ms. Johnson?
For,
So to slide that vacancy over to District 2, we don't need a motion on that, do we?
no,
This gentleman's
Gentleman's agreement.
Is that good with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you gentlemen would not mind appointing me as an advisory member to the EDA, I would need a motion on that. And if you don't motion, it would cause me great embarrassment at this time.
No motion, do it. One comment I'd like to make is, with you being an advisor representing the Board of Supervisors, I think that's a great idea. And the reason being, you can discuss with them any economic development that's coming into the county, advise them, and they can advise you. You can bring it back to us. So I think that's a good move. So with that, I will make a motion.
Any discussion on Mr. Smith's motion? You vote Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Black? My vote is aye. That's all I have, Ms. Johnson, on that. Ms. Johnson, at the discretion of the chairman, I need to back up on the agenda because I made a mistake back at the consent agenda. We do need to make corrections to the minutes. I had it written down and it got by me because we were so concerned about making sure that Facebook Live was up and running. On the
so if I could interject, are you going to rescind your motion to,
What the agenda?
because
you talking about, so we need to rescind the motion on adopting the consent agenda? Then who made the motion?
I think I did. So I have to rescind it.
Yes, you have to rescind it.
So do.
We don't need to vote that, do we? Okay. On there's only one set of minutes in here, but let me get the date for you. Now, watch me be incorrect, that would be wonderful. Where is the date on our minutes? On page 11, Ms. Jones, of the minutes? I'm assuming it was last month. What was the date of that, please? Yes, ma'am. Okay. On page 11, it said that Ricky Hicks, the Director of Public Works, reviewed a presentation slide on Wayside wastewater treatment plant. That should be Chemicals. And then again, Wayside is listed and that should be Chemicals. And then right under that, under COVID-19 update, Jimmy Johnson stated that since the county has opened, that needs to be reopened. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay, so with those changes made, I need another motion for the adoption of the consent agenda.
So move with corrections, Mr. Chairman.
All right, any discussion on Mr. Smith's motion? Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Black? My vote is aye. I apologize for- Continue on, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item that we amended was the resolution for the smart scale project for the roundabout at 106 and Route 5. So last month, you gentlemen requested that I contact Vdot to withdraw our application for the roundabout at Route 5 and 106. And so once we sent over the letter, we were informed that there has to be a formal resolution to accompany the correspondence from my office. And so tonight before you, I have a resolution that reads as follows. Withdrawing smart scale application for roundabout at Route 5 and Route 106 in Charles City County, Virginia. Whereas the Charles City County Board of Supervisors request to withdraw the smart scale application UPC 115406 for Route 106, Route 5 roundabout intersection improvements. And whereas the stop ahead signs and overhead flashers were installed in 1995. The only change to this intersection since that time has been the Capitol Trail users. And whereas Route 5 and Route 106 is the main intersection to Charles City County Industrial Corridor, a roundabout in this intersection is not conclusive to 18-wheelers that constantly travel through this intersection or agricultural equipment used for constituents' livelihood. And whereas Charles City County is primarily a rural community with large agricultural equipment, the intersection at Route 106 and Route 5 is not wide enough to place a roundabout to allow agricultural equipment to navigate without any incidents. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of Charles City County hereby agree to withdraw Vdot Smart Scale Application UPC 115406, adopted this 25th day of August by a unanimous vote of the board, the votes being recorded in the minutes as below.
Incorrect.
But I said it correctly. It's incorrect on mine, but
Okay, that's good.
can I-
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So,
we need a motion to adopt this resolution.
hold on just a second. What did you say it was adopted again?
August the 25th. I read the today's date.
That's fine. We'll make sure.
You good?
We're good.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, a motion to adopt the withdrawing smart scale application for the roundabout at Route 5.
Any discussion on Mr. Black's motion? Your vote, Mr. Black?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
My vote is aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item, the FY21 budget carryover requests from FY20. I actually will do those presentations tonight because the Facebook audience has stated that they cannot hear from the microphone. So before you in your package, you have the fiscal year 2020 projects that were not completed. They were scheduled to be completed, well, some of them, but due to COVID-19 early in March, we were not able to complete them. So I am requesting that we carry over the funding into FY21 so that we can get them complete. We do have a new accounting system for $130,000, the fire radios for $120,000, this building's roof replacement at $31,058. Pit replacements for $30,000, and those are for chemicals to aid in the development of the new wastewater plant that's being installed. The meter reading system at $20,792, and hardware replacement for $10,000, Mr. Chairman.
Can you give us just a little bit of hardware replacement? If you have it, if not, we can do it next month, but that's okay too. That's Mr. Hitchens.
No, the hardware replacement is some information technology equipment that we need to complete.
All right. That's all. Does anyone have any questions? Floor is open for motion for carryover.
And if you could speak louder so that individuals on YouTube, on Facebook and YouTube can hear you, sir.
All right. Floor is open for motion on the carryovers. Presented.
Move that the carryovers will be granted. This is coming from staff.
Yes.
It's staff request.
It's been from Mr. Smith's motion. Your vote, Mr. Smith. Mr. Black. My vote is aye.
Next item is the CARES Act budget amendment, Mr. Chairman. We came to you earlier this year with the CARES Act funding that we received from the state for $607,495. And so we were, moving full speed ahead, making sure that we were going to meet that December 31st deadline. So when the CARES Act money came down, they said you have to spend it all by December 31st that we received in June. And so we were moving full speed ahead, and then we got notification to say there will be a second round of CARES Act money in the same amount of $607,495. So that we're asking tonight to amend the budget to accept the second distribution of the CARES Act money for $607,495, which will bring the total amount to $1,214,990. And I will be giving a full presentation after this amendment, if you guys so see fit, to how we are spending the money and what we're projected to use it on after this item, sir.
All right. Gentlemen, you've heard what Lynn Johnson is presenting. Floor is open for motion.
Prior to, I just had a question. Is the breakdown as it pertains to the public schools, the food insecurity, is that going to be presented to the public after we?
It's going to be in the next presentation.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I'm saying advertise someplace else also, like online, just in case somebody was wondering or constituents were wondering where we distributing or allocating these funds. Is that going to be presented?
We can make it available on the finance office's webpage,
Okay.
That they can go and click on the presentation tonight that will show the breakdown. Now, we won't itemize the breakdown. We'll just give the categories, because the state actually gave us a series of categories that we had to submit all of our expenditures to the state first for preliminary approval. And then once we put them in those categories, so we can categorically place those items in on the website.
Okay.
Hmm?
Just like the people county up to date on it.
Sure, not a problem.
Anything else? No. Floor is open for motion.
I move that the request coming from staff will be approved as presented.
Mr. Richards, motion. Your vote is Mr. Smith. Mr. Black. My vote is aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So if you gentlemen want to turn around, we have a presentation, and Mr. Black, if you could kill the lights, that way the audience could see it as well.
It's on Facebook too, right?
Yes, it's on Facebook, so Facebook Live can see the same presentation that you guys are seeing. It's just a light switch.
Hold on, man. Let me do this over here. I'll get it mixed up.
We got 10 over here.
Yeah, there's only one over here.
And light switch, I didn't know that. I only saw one. So you can see that the Benjamin has a mask on for coronavirus as well. So like I stated before, the county received $1.2 million from the CARES Act funding for the coronavirus relief for the pandemic. And so we're going to just break down how we're spending it, that we haven't spent it all, of course, but how we are projected to spend and what we spent it on categorically as of June 30th, 2020. So how much has the county received? So in June of 2020, we received $607,495. And then we also received the same amount in August of 2020 to bring it to the $1.2 million. The spending categories are disinfection and sanitation for $273,486, public health and safety employees for $242,805, K through 12 public schools, $232,251, telework for government operations, $228,855, safe access to government, $147,871, and food insecurity, $33,366. So in the telework for government operations, year to date, we've spent $27,394. $19,558 was that for computers and printers, and $7,836 was for software and programs. So when the pandemic hit, we had to, think really fast on how we could get employees to work from home. Majority of our employees had just desktop and not laptops because we've never experienced this. And so quickly we had to purchase laptops so that they can continue to work from home. And so year to date, that primarily went to that cause. So what we're projected to increase, or the projected amount that we're going to spend, is $201,461. So $74,000. You have a question, Mr. Chairman? You have to move with me, Miranda. There you go. $74,709 will be for computers and printers. Initially, like I said, we gave the essential personnel just a transition. And so this is going to be used to basically make sure that every staff person has a laptop that they can just grab and go in case this continues, okay? Our virtual services, $83,244. We know that we've been having some technical difficulties, but I'm thankful that we are an imperfect world. We live in an imperfect world and we're an imperfect government, right? But this virtual service will help to eliminate the technical difficulties that we will have, because we'll have a streaming platform in this room. So we will be able to stream with video. We won't have to use Zoom. We won't have to use other platforms that, unfortunately are unreliable for us at this time. And so to support those platforms, we're going to spend $16,000 on additional software. Also, my staff was not excited about this, but included in that, when my staff goes home, I will have a software placed on everyone's computer and get a report to see how much you've been working on at home. Because when you work from home, and they just look at me side-eyed, but it's okay. If you go home to work, I expect you to be working at home. So this software will tell us exactly what you're doing. So hopefully nobody will go to Amazon.com and purchase anything, because I'll get to see it. Our Human Resources Department will be processing payroll for $1,200. So that's so the payroll and those employees can access their payroll items virtually. So we built in some contingency funds of $26,308 because once the platform is built, especially for the virtual services, we want to make sure there may be a few things that we need to get. So we built some contingency in there. Also, we want to make sure that all of our services will be available to the public. So we will be launching a Charles City app. So in the event, because we don't have broadband implemented yet, there will be an app you can download from the Apple Android store. and therefore you can get the notifications. Will be able to do the streaming. You can pay your water bills, your personal property taxes, your real estate taxes right from your telephone. Also, we will allow Civic Rec, which will allow, once the parks open, you can still be register for facilities and amenities for the Parks and Recreation from a virtual platform. Any questions so far? Disinfection and sanitation, year to date, we've spent $107,642. Like Mr. Johnson stated, we had 3 employees that tested positive for COVID-19. And each time we received a positive case, we sanitized and cleaned the building through a third-party vendor to make sure that the rest of our staff was safe. And so that's what we've spent year to date. So we're projected to spend $165,844. $22,500 will be the total for the UV light sanitation devices. We've also built a contingency of $143,344. And the reason that we're building contingency right now, because we have until December 31st that all of the funds have to be expended. And so as we move closer, by October 31st, we'll evaluate and redirect the funds as we deem necessary, if we find other things that we need to purchase. Public health and safety for our employees, we were allowed, or we paid our fire and EMS and our other our public works department, and our sheriff's department hasn't paid year to date to the tune of $80,935. We do have employees that helped with the sanitation, even though we had a third party, so we could reopen the buildings relatively quickly. I can say we have had employees of the sheriff's department and the fire department to go out on 911 calls to citizens who had tested positive. So they were exposed to the virus. And so they're on the front lines. And so the money, the CARES Act money, will allow you to pay those departments, just the emergency staff hazard pay. So the hazard pay did not go to any of our administrative staff. So we're projected to spend $161,870. And so we have an emergency management trailer for $30,000 that will be able to assist us if we have to get additional testing. We can move this trailer. We work with VDH as well as other agencies to say if we have to get mobile, we can use an emergency management trailer to assist with that. Mr. Black.
Yeah, I just had a question. Being that we are able to use the CARES funding to supplement hazardous pay for firefighters and EMT, I'm curious if that could work for like IT personnel, being that we have to set up our virtual services and those types of things. That personnel factor, can we use that funding for that or no?
So no, the hazard pay are for those individuals who are out on the front lines that are primarily for EMS, fire and EMS, and for the sheriff's department, because they have to go out into the community and answer calls. For IT, they pretty much can do everything in-house. So, we chose not to allow any administrative staff to receive funding for that.
I understand that. I was just like referring to your other slides when it came to, do we have flexibility when it comes to the CARES Act for personnel?
For hazard pay, yes.
Just strictly for hazard pay.
But
Okay.
we can redirect the funding. So you see here we have a contingency funds of $131,870. So those can be moved between categories as we see fit.
Okay.
So K through 12 public schools, Charles City Schools, they did receive their own CARES Act money to the tune of $146,097. And so we stated before, once we received our funding, that we were going to share with them. So we gave them an additional $232,251 for the Charles City Public Schools. And so with that funding, and I do apologize for my fonts being a little off, but I'll read the numbers. So they are going to purchase Kajit's mobile hotspots for students for $148,736. Abby, did you know how many of these? Was it 300? So they were going to purchase 350 hotspots for the students to assist with virtual learning for $148,736. So our CARES money that we gave to them was to help for that funding. Food trays and vacuum sealers, once they come back into the building, for $60,411. Non-touch thermometers for $15,595, and disinfecting foggers that we were talking about earlier for $7,009. And that's going to be used, I guess they're going to fog the buildings and the buses. Okay. Safe access to government for $53,852. And so we've done some virtual access. So when I talked about earlier how we're making access to the government during COVID-19 virtual, we spent $46,820. Virtual access to county meetings will be a part of the other funding, $4,000 to go virtual and not the platform we're using now. We also assisted the registrar's office or the electoral board with the election earlier this year for $2,597. So when you went out to the polls, you saw they were screened with plexiglass. So we actually used our CARES money for that. And then drop boxes for this building and the courthouse for the commissioner revenue, community development, as well as the building official for $435. I also want to state, since we're on elections, that they will also receive additional money from CARES to the tune of about $48,000 to assist with just the November election to safeguard citizens when they come out to vote. That money will be coming before you once we receive it from the state. So we are projected to spend $94,019. Not as sophisticated as you would like, Mr. Black, but we had a vendor to provide portable billboard signs for $37,365. And so these we're getting one for each district. So actually they pop open and they're not as large as the Vdot signs, but the ones that the sheriff department have, and we can anchor them and move them wherever you want. We program a box and then it just pops up. So we can, if there's COVID testing, if there's food distribution, we're going to use those for notification to the public in each district.
Ms. Johnson, may I interject?
Sure.
With Mr. Black. Those funds can be used towards those portable billboards, correct?
Yes.
So Mr. Black had an idea about communication, how to get word out to constituents and all. And he had the original idea of portable billboard signs, which I think is a phenomenal idea.
Correct.
Do you think it would be wise for us to spend this money on portable signs that will work for COVID, but not really serve the purpose that you want to serve? Is this a time that we want to use our heads for more than a hat rack? And I think that's funny. It was funny, wasn't it? And
not really, but if you want me to laugh, I might not do that.
We look seriously at possibly spending more money now to get what you want that we can use for many years going forward. Can we do that legally and still use this much of the CARES Act funds?
So the CARES Act funds are to assist with COVID responses only. We are, and that's why we're purchasing them. And then after COVID is over, we have them and we can continue to use them. And so the message boards are whatever message you want to put up. It's just you just program it with a laptop and you can put your messaging on it.
But when you started with that, you said they're not as nice as Mr. Black envisioned, but we're going to get these. Why don't we use this money? Because we're going to use it for COVID notifications and get the enhanced versions that you envision.
Well, I think when I said not as nice as Mr. Black envisioned, because those were permanent structures that he had envisioned. This will serve the same purpose, but they will be portable, so you can move in within your district. And he had sent me a picture of permanent structures like the schools. So the COVID money will allow us, so we can examine it. I can share with you all what we're purchasing, and you can get feedback. But as long as they're portable, we can use them for CARES Act money and beyond.
When are you gonna drop the hammer on those?
That's the quote that we received that we can share, and you can chime in. I can show you what they look like, and that sort of
We
thing.
can dive into it a little
Mr. Smith, if I can have your consensus on this, I would like Mr. Black to head this up and let him work on these with her. And if additional funding needs to be taken out of contingency or whatever.
Well, we built contingency funds in each category that we can redirect.
No, not here, not intentionally here, or whatever. You know how to work the numbers.
I do.
Let him work what he wants.
Okay, so Mr. Black, you and I collaborate, and
then-
we'll see. I'll show you what we've been, because it's something that a lot of localities are using, and so I can share with you what we are proposing, and then if you want to make any modifications, so not a problem.
Perfect, and then just go with it.
But we want to make sure that these are for CARES for COVID-19.
I understand, but I would love to use them long after COVID is gone.
We will, but we want to make sure we're putting them in our COVID-19. Okay. So we had some orders to come down from the Supreme Court for our courtrooms to the tune of $50,000. We're going to renovate the Clerk of Circuit Court's office and the courtroom renovations. It was a perfect timing because we had already approved in the FY21 budget to renovate the clerk's office anyway. And so now we can use CARES Act money because the Supreme Court said there are certain measures that have to be in place for Clerk of Circuit Courts, as well as jurors that, grand jurors that are going to come into the courthouse. So we've met with the judge. Major Comer has come up with a COVID-19 plan for the courthouse that had to be approved from the Supreme Court. And so this $50,000 will address the mandate that we're getting from the Supreme Court. And then we have some contingency because when you go for construction, you may have some change orders. So $6,654 will be the contingency for this category. So food insecurity projected expenses is $33,366. We are still working on our food pantry project, and so we're projecting to use $33,000 towards those efforts. Building modifications year to date, 0. Building modifications to be Department of Labor compliance, we're projecting $28,700. We have to provide a COVID-19 lunch area for our staff, and this building is the only one that we can't afford that opportunity, so we're going to create an outdoor lunch area out back, and then install partitions in the social center gymnasium for parks and recreation activities, so they can have just small groups of 10 for social distancing for the students or children who come for parks and recreation activities. Question?
The outdoor lunch area be covered?
Yes, because we have to be able to provide a lunch area space that's COVID-19 friendly, and so this building was the only one that didn't have one. Year to date, we've spent $3,880 on posters and postcards to the public. And so we all are projecting to spend $10,460. So we have about $1,500. If the Department of Development, once they go home, developers are still submitting site plans. So this equipment will help them to review large site plans within that office for $1,500. And then $7,760 are built into contingency funds. And like I stated before, the contingency funds we will evaluate in October. Personal protective equipment, PPE, we've spent $4,439 for gloves, hand sanitizer, wipes. We were able to a lot of the masks that we have, even the mask that has Charles City County, we got those free, but we put up hand sanitizer stations around the buildings and the courthouse and all of our buildings. And so we're projecting to increase for that is $8,878, so that we can make sure we have additional PPE for staff. And that completes my presentation, but I'll take any questions that you have at this time. And if you could give me the lights back, Mr. Code, I would appreciate it.
Gentlemen, do you have any questions for Mrs. Johnson on the CARES Act funding?
Ms. Johnson, have you ever offered a free COVID testing in the county for citizens? They will, set up a certain area, they can come in and get this test. Have we ever thought about that?
We had three testing events. We had two at the Tribal Center, and we had one at the Social Center. So we had roughly about 60 plus citizens between the three to come out and get the COVID testing. And so VDH, the Chickahominy portion of VDH regional group actually made Charles City the first testing site in their district, the Chickahominy Health District. That's what I meant to say. Okay. So we've conducted 3 of those by the Chickahominy Health District.
Hey, how about masks? I see where some other counties, some area are offering free masks. I'm just wondering, maybe you could give each church in the county X number of masks.
We actually packed up 20, we gave out to 20 churches. Yeah, 20 churches received, so we sent letters to 20 churches to come and pick up their packet, and we gave each church 200 masks. And how many have we distributed so far, Mr. Johnson? How many churches have picked up? So 5 churches have picked up. Out of the 20 churches in Charles City, 5 churches have picked up. And so we're working to do more outreach because those are free. We got 5,000 for free. And so if you're on Facebook Live and your church hasn't picked up your mask, please contact Director Johnson. And so you can get each church will get 200 masks for their congregation.
Good, thank you.
We also have some senior connection sanitation packs that we will have available for our during our next food distribution, and then we'll be giving those to the churches as well.
Good. Good. Ms. Johnson, is it possible to keep a running live document on the CARES Act funding and disbursements on the website?
Anything is possible, Mr. Chairman.
There's been some questions in the community about the CARES Act funding, and I don't think a lot of people really understood wholly what it was, how it worked, and the categories that we were restricted to spend and the timelines and all. If that could become a live document on our website.
So when you say awesome. a live document, you mean categorically?
No.
Or you want us to itemize the purchases?
No. That's I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but I want people to be able to have the information if they desire, just in those categories, what money is being spent. Like tomorrow, if you expend $1,000 in one category, can that be updated as a live document going forward without coming to the board for approval of this or that and the other? As you spend, it does come to anyway, but as you spend, can it be a live document?
It probably will be best to do it on a monthly basis, since we process accounts payable checks twice a month. That way we can capture it once a month. At the end of the month, we can kind of brainstorm and come up with some options to present to you. Ms. Pemberton, she's not in the room, but she's an Excel guru, and we can come up with some options, present them to him to see if that's what the vision that you have. Sure, we can. The answer is yes, we can make it available. But, how we make it available live, like once we process the check and update the category, that may be a little difficult, but we can talk about that a little further.
COVID spending as it sits today is over in December, correct?
Right, we have to have all of it spent December 31.
So we got, that would only be technically 2 updates before the end.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. That's what we're doing now, right?
Right, and we've spent a little over $300,000 so far.
Okay.
Mhm.
We gave the schools
232,000. Mhm.
All right. You have anything else?
Okay.
We're good, Ms. Johnson, if you want to move on.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we have the amendment, insurance rate renewal approval. Each year, we come to you with our health insurance renewal. And again, Ms. Nguyen, I'll make that presentation. I'll just ask you to assist with any questions so that the Facebook audience can hear. But this year, of course, every year we renew our health insurance, our dental insurance, and our insurance for employees. And so this year, the recommendation to the board is to continue coverage with United Healthcare. We did have some other companies to actually bid on our RFP, but then we didn't want to disrupt.
Hold on one second. The first page is out of order, I think. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Page 76.
I saw it, it was out of order.
Keep going. Keep going.
That's it.
Yeah, but if you go back to the memo, well, that gives you the breakdown of
The presentation, the one block I was looking for.
it's in front of you. It's in front of
Okay, continue on.
the memo. Okay. So the recommendation is to continue.
That's it. That's what I'm looking for.
Is that not right in front of it?
No, it's not. It's not. I go from here to here. It was out of order. It's what I was trying to tell you. But now that's okay. I'll continue on. I'll find it.
Great. So like I was saying, we are recommending to continue coverage with United Healthcare for this plan year, Delta Dental, and iMed Vision for the upcoming plan year. United Healthcare has proposed an increase of 6%, which falls under the county projected increase of 10%. So each year when we do our fiscal year budget, we program a 10%, we project a 10% increase. And so this falls under that projection. So we will experience a 6% increase. Delta Dental rates have increased by 1.55%, what we normally project about a 5%, or we budget about a 5% increase. Decreased by 1.55%, sorry. So we will experience a savings of $897 for Delta Dental. iMed is in a rate lock for 2022 plan year, so there won't be any, they won't experience any increase. So the request tonight is to allow the HR department to continue health coverage for employees with United Healthcare, Delta Dental, and iMed for vision.
Someone is here, the request from the county administrator. Floor is open for a motion.
Move that the request presented by staff will be honored.
Any discussion on Mr. Franklin? You're with Mr. Smith, Mr. Black? My vote is aye.
Mr. Chairman, the next item is Old Union Road, Charles City Road. Last month I reported out that we had communicated with Henrico County because we have to do a joint resolution, but the Charles City Road portion on Henrico County actually belongs to the county because they maintain their own roads. And so Mr. Tyrone Nelson is in that district, and they are evaluating that because if they restrict truck traffic on their portion of Henrico County, it's going to cause problems getting to a landfill in that area. So they have not made the final decision on whether they will join us in that in that effort to block truck traffic on Charles City Road. And so if we don't hear back or they make the decision not to partner with us, then I will bring back to you at the September meeting to restrict truck traffic on Old Union Road as we initially had planned. Because VDOT says the only way that we can restrict truck traffic on Charles City Road is if we have that joint resolution. Questions?
Comment. If we restricted on Old Union Road and you have a truck coming in from Henrico County and when they turn on Old Union Road, they cannot turn on Old Union Road. They have to continue on Charles City Road, which we have a problem also. And I believe Charles City Road is narrower than Old Union. So I don't know where to go with this. I just hate to get to the point that I have to be barrier of bad news to go to a family and say, I offer my condolences. I hope it does not get to that because I continue to get calls that people are afraid of these large trucks. So the only thing I can tell them that I'm still working on the situation. I can't make any promise.
Right. And a part of the research for Henrico County, they were researching the truck traffic count on their portion of the road. And then also how they would redirect the trucks. I think that's Elko Road, or.
It is Elko, but I see that they have put in weight restrictions all over their roads in Henrico County. So I don't know what that means.
Right. And so they had to look at those weight restrictions and then how they were redirected. And so unfortunately, because Henrico is not, Charles City Road on the Henrico side is not maintained by VDOT. That's the reason why we have to get that joint resolution. And so I understand that we should have some notification, hopefully by the end of the month is what I was told. So at the September board meeting, I'll bring it back to you. And I do apologize to the citizens in District 1. This has taken a very long time, but hopefully we can have some type of resolution in September.
Well, the only thing we can do is continue to try. Hope we can find a resolution to work it out.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Our upcoming events for next month. Let me get to it really fast. We are still attempting to try to do movie in the park. Every Friday that we have planned to have movie in the park, it rains.
Yeah, windshield wiper on the car.
Well, unfortunately, the company won't allow their equipment to be out in the rain. And so Comcast, of course, we have to contact them because Comcast is paying for these events. But hopefully on September 18th, at 7:50, the gates open at 7:15, movie starts at 8:15, The Secret Life of Pets. Let's hope no rain, because Kim was like, oh my goodness, it keeps raining. Mm-hmm. So we're going to attempt to make that effort to have movie in the park again. Social distancing will be practiced. And we've measured it out where you can stay in your car, but if you get out of your car, you have to stay within a block and it will still be 6 feet social distancing. Charles City Community Town Hall. Moving forward during COVID-19 is hosted by the Charles City Fire and EMS Department this Thursday, August the 27th, 2020 at 7 p.m. in the Social Center. We have a panel of individuals that will just talk about the impacts of COVID on Charles City. I know we have Chief Atkins from the tribe participating, some of our business partners, individuals from the school. And so as some of the community leaders, we just want to get together in a roundtable on how COVID has impacted our individual organizations and what we, have done great, what we need to improve upon, and how we can move forward. And this will also possibly help direct some of the contingency funding that I just shared as well.
Community Center on Ruthville Road.
Community Center on Ruthville Road. So this brings us to our second public comment period.
Ladies and gentlemen, if anyone that would like to address the board, please come up to the podium. Be given 3 minutes as an individual, 5 as a group. Is anyone in the audience that would like to address? Please come on up now. Ms. Johnson, do you have any on Facebook as of yet?
I do.
Okay.
So right now we have Miss Eleanor Robinson. Our board meetings would not be a board meeting if Miss Robinson didn't come up to that podium.
Amen.
We thank you for always advocating for Charles City, not just District 3. She supports Charles City County. She's getting an award for #1 public comment, period. So Ms. Robinson, if you could speak loud so so the Facebook Live can hear you. If not, I will repeat your comments so that they can hear. Ms. Robinson.
My name is Eleanor Robinson, 17511, John Tower High. And the question was asked a moment ago about the testing in Charles City for COVID. And I believe you said there had been 3 testings in Charles City. Unfortunately, the testing was done, but it wasn't fair to the citizens because you don't get a call 3:30, 4 o'clock, mobile call, and the testing is the next day. I tried to get someone to have the testing that it could be announced as it was on TV a week or so, that you'll know where the testing is and what time. And I couldn't get anything done. So I appreciate it if it be done again, that we will get, that the citizens will get notice that it's going to be done not the day before, but a week or so before it be done. Because it's not fair to the citizens. You get a test on Thursday at 3:30, and the testing is Friday morning at 9 o'clock. It's no time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Anyone else in the audience like to address the board, please come forward.
So Facebook, if I could just tell you, that was Ms. Eleanor Robinson who expressed her concerns for COVID-19 testing that was provided and wanted us to improve, or requesting that we improve the notification to citizens prior to the event, and that it's something that we would definitely work on in the event the Virginia Department of Health decides to come back and do testing in Charles City. I do have a second public comment period from Dr. Steve Furman. Housing units for broadband. It had been often stated that Comcast will serve 2,350 homes and 550 additional may be served by SES, totaling 2,900. Last evening, Ms. Johnson stated there are 3,391 housing units, meaning 1,041 would not be served by Comcast. Please clarify a consistently accurate number of housing units in our county. COVID-19 indoor safety currently available. Epidemiological studies indicate that airborne aerosols that spread, and unfortunately that comment gets cut off. So he's discussing the oh, okay. Well, it's really long. Okay. Let's see. Currently available epidemiological studies indicate that airborne aerosols that spread in the air and remain in the air are significant sources of transmitting disease. Primary recommended solutions are the installation of MERV 13 HVAC filters and compliance with ASHRAE HVAC current ventilation standard 62.1. Do county and school public meeting areas comply with these recommendations? If not, can required upgrades soon be implemented for public safety if group and classroom steering are held? Thanks for continuing virtual meetings. That's from Dr. Furman.
All right. Any more?
Let me scroll down, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry, I skipped one. Elizabeth Weber Edwards says, please consider using the money you might put toward permanent signs to getting every house access to the internet. Wade Potter, you may have already addressed, but when, how often is the county GIS maps updated? Travers Bend has been a semi-developed neighborhood for several years, yet the maps have not been updated. Our residents have tried to add our addresses to Google as per their process to no avail. It is extremely difficult to get packages delivered outside of the U.S. Postal Service. And those are all of the public comments periods. The second public comment periods, if I'm not mistaken, that we see, Mr. Chairman, on.
All right, at this time, then we will go to our board.
I'm sorry, one more.
Hold on just a second.
Wanda Roberts says, is the BPOL tax still on the table? That's one of her questions. Are there any more public comments on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, ladies and gentlemen? And it looks like we have about 35 on Facebook Live and about 20 or so on YouTube Live right now.
All right, then I will close the public comment period at this time, and that'll take us over to board directives and comments, gentlemen. Black.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you for all the people that are on Facebook Live and virtual meeting and all the folks that showed up. I'd like to get with you and Vdot, Ms. Johnson, so that we can discuss the road repairs that are needed on Glebe Lane.
Okay.
And see if we can explore some options to fix it, widen it, and mitigate some of these things that are plaguing my district on that road. And as far as the BPOL tax, hopefully that's something that we can do on one of our next meetings. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, so you would like to have BPOL tax as a discussion item at the
Yes.
next meeting? Okay,
Yes, I will.
and then I will get with Mr. I'm sorry?
No, I was gonna let you finish. I was gonna add also the solar exemption, tax exemption that we were supposed to explore. We never revisited that, so.
I think we have a majority of the information. We were waiting on one more piece, correct, Lisa, to put that packet together. According to, there was maybe some change in legislation, and we were just kind of making sure that we wanted to make sure that we presented all the factual information. So we'll have that information, a report out on that information at the next Board of Supervisors meeting. And then you and I can just come up with a plan as we look at the Glebe Lane to present to VDOT for repairs.
Thank you. We gonna discuss the signs also.
No signs, the portable digital signs.
And also, when we're gonna bring it up, the scheduling, and I guess the financial aspect for those road reflectors on Route 5. I need to know when that's feasible. You know? Okay,
so we can actually talk to the VDOT. I know when we talked to Mr. Nguyen before, he stated that it was, a budget item that wasn't programmed in that budget because of lack of funding. I know they had some turnover because about 4 years ago, it was programmed in the budget for the reflectors. And I guess because of so many changes within VDOT, they redirected the funding. So we can get some answers to that as well.
Okay.
Any other directives, Mr. Black?
Oh, I might have one more.
I do it all the time.
We know. We know.
I just want to let the public know that I have 3 openings on committee or commission that are looking for individuals to serve on. I have 2 people that I need to appoint from District 1 on the Planning Commission member as Planning Commission members. One individual deceased a while back, and had another one to resign about 2 months ago. So if you find anyone that's interested, please give me a call or Ms. Johnson, and we can sit down and talk to you all about the Planning Commission. Also, I had one individual from Social Service that resigned. I think Mr. Cole says she is moving out of the county. So there's 3 positions. If anyone is interested, please give us a call. Thank you.
So if any individuals on, that are virtual tonight, if you're interested in representing District 1 on the Planning Commission or the Social Services Board, you can reach out to Mr. Gilbert Smith and myself to discuss the opportunity. Mr. Chairman, let me get my ink pen ready. Wait a minute.
You're gonna have to, I got a whole bunch of stuff. Mr. Johnson, do we have any more of these?
We do that way. I don't know if we have any with Charles City.
Charles City on it. We do. I'd like to have about 5 or 6. Thank you. Dr. Russell, the question that came across on the GIS updated, can you shed some light as to how often that is done or whatnot? Okay. Can you provide that at our next meeting, please? Well, I think the question stated that they can't update Google Maps or be added into Google Maps until our GIS is updated. That's the way I understood it. Is that how you?
Yeah, Mr. Wade Potter, it looks like, I guess when they try to have packages delivered outside of the U.S. Postal Service, it's not showing up. They're having a difficulty because of the GIS. So, we can examine that and also possibly reach out to Mr. Potter. Mr. Potter, if you could possibly email me so I can have your information to, if we have additional questions for your question, Mr. Wade Potter.
I only have one other, and I want to express the importance. This is going to be one of the most important requests I have ever made from staff. And I would like to have this done ASAP.
You want everything done ASAP.
This is imperative.
Okay.
I'm going to be worrying you to death every single day over this.
More than you do now?
More than I do now, 3 times more. So staff that's here, you understand what's going to happen to Ms. Johnson, so she needs your help. I would like to have a map from Comcast, a legible map that we can put out to the public with clearly defined roads and address stoppages and startages, meaning this right here.
Okay.
Let me, when I say address stoppages and startages,
Okay.
if you look at the map that they have provided us today, Comcast copper, and most people, and then especially people on Facebook, one way to determine if you have Comcast, and this is not an accurate way, but one way, the low-hanging wire on the telephone poles is Comcast cable TV in this county. And the reason I say that because the Comcast stops at my house, in front of my house on Cool Hill Road. And if you look at the map, it clearly shows their new fiber stopping in front of my house. But we're getting hundreds and hundreds of questions, and people need to know whether or not they're going to be serviced by Comcast. So I want a map put on our website as fast as humanly possible that will show the exact coverage of Comcast internet. I am so important and so adamant about this. This is one of the most important things I've ever asked you to do. And I would like to know where the coverage starts and stops by address.
Okay. Can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Anything you want, as long as you provide this.
I can't provide it, Comcast can, but so do you want this information prior to the Comcast town hall that we're scheduling?
I want it tomorrow if I can get it. Now, I know I can't get it tomorrow, but that's how important it is to me to have this information and put it out to the constituents.
Okay, I will start on that first thing in the morning.
This is actually today more important to me than 106, and you know how important that is.
Not a problem, Mr. Chairman.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
I know what you have.
No. I was just wondering about SES. Is that gonna be a joint town hall or no, just them?
Just
by itself?
Comcast. We don't want to have both service providers in the
Yeah.
room. We had SES at the last meeting and we presented their information last night that when we did the town hall take two. And so we didn't want both providers in the room because technically they're competitors, right? So Comcast, you know, they're building their information and we're working on things now.
Thank you.
Ms. Johnson, I truly believe that there is not, you can't give enough information on this internet in this county right now. You can't give it, you bombard us. Make us so sick of hearing about the internet that we get sick about hearing about the internet.
No comment.
One thing we gotta express though also is patience. Gotta have some patience.
It's been 5 years, Mr. Black.
Hey, you know,
It's been 5 years, patient.
I get it, but I mean,
No,
things don't happen overnight. You know?
I know that, and we're on the cusp. We're on the cusp of really great things. Let's roll.
Not a problem. I'll reach out to Comcast and start communicating with them to see if that information can be provided and how soon I can get it. And as soon as I get it, I will make sure I will send it to you and your colleagues first to examine. And I know as soon as you get it and approved, you'll post it on your social media before we do.
Absolutely,
So-
I will, because I did it before and I'll do it again.
Not a problem,
With
Mr.
all that
Chairman.
being said, do we need executive session, and if so, for what?
I do need an executive session for personnel this evening. I do not intend any, there will be no action taken after. And so Facebook Live, YouTube Live, thank you for your patience this evening. We are signing off because we are going into executive session. So thank you so much for your patience. Thank you all in the audience. And so on YouTube Live and Facebook Live, have a good evening.